Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for your patience today. Sorry about us starting this presentation a little bit late. We've had a couple of technical difficulties, which hopefully will be ironed out through the course of this presentation. Welcome to the second of our Sustainability Leadership Talks, hosted by Sportworks and the Sustainability Report. I'm Matthew Campelli, the Director of Sustainability for Touchline and the founder of the Sustainability Report. And today I'm delighted to be introducing Bodour Al-Meer, who is the Sustainability Director for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Bodour, it's great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction as well.
Over the next 20 minutes or so, Bodour will give us a deep dive into the sustainability strategy for the upcoming World Cup, and we'll be explaining the ambitions and objectives of the tournament, as well as some of the practical steps the organisers are taking to make sustainability a core part of the event. Bodour's presentation will last for about 20 minutes or so, but then we'll have another 20 minutes or 25 minutes afterwards for an interactive discussion. So please, if you have any questions, please enter them into the chat, and we'll get through as many as we can at the end of the presentation. If we can't get through all the questions, we'll pass on any unanswered questions to Bodour and her team, and we'll try and publish those at some point over the next week or so. Without further ado, let me hand over to Bodour. Bodour, the floor is yours.
Matt, and I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me today to speak at this event. It is my pleasure to speak with you all today and to give you an update on our preparation for the FIFA World Cup in 2022. The FIFA World Cup in Qatar is a competition to crown the world champion of men's national football teams, but in our case, it's also a lot more. We are using the tournament to expedite and to accelerate our development towards achieving our national vision. We see this tournament as an amazing opportunity to develop our country and to showcase our local culture and tradition. With the FIFA World Cup coming to the Arab world for the first time, we see this as an opportunity to deliver a wonderful celebration of football, culture, hospitality, and hospitality in a family-friendly environment. I have today prepared a few slides that I will share with you shortly. This presentation includes 3 parts: an overview of the event and the unique aspects of the edition of the FIFA World Cup, some examples of how FIFA World Cup is a catalyst for national development, and the environmental part of our sustainability strategy for Qatar 2022. Can you go to the next slide, please? So let's start with the few facts and figures about Qatar 2022. This time the event will be in one location. All matches will be in and around our capital city, Doha. Fans can see more than one match per day, and you will be able to get to all stadiums and attractions using our public transportation. There will be no need for any internal flights. There will be 32 teams playing 64 matches in only 28 days. Very compact and action-packed event. 8 stadiums will be used for the event, which is significantly less than the recent World Cups. For example, in Brazil 2014, they had 12 stadiums, and in Russia 2018 they had 14 stadiums. During that time, it will be very busy time in Doha, in Qatar. We expect over 1.5 million visitors. Our current population is less than 3 million. Which means there will be a strain on all the infrastructure, systems and resources. Conservation is very important. At the end of all of this, of course, we will know who can call themselves the world champions. Can you go to the next slide, please? We are 3 partners delivering the World Cup this time. The Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, which I work for. It is a Qatari entity that represents the host country and is in charge of all preparation and coordination with other local stakeholders. We are also looking after Qatar's interest when it comes to the legacy of the World Cup. And of course, you all know the FIFA. They are the global governing body for football and owns their FIFA World Cup events. And our local partners at Qatar 2022 is the equivalent of the local organizing committee, but the governance model is a little bit different in this case. Can you please go to the next slide? When we were awarded the hosting rights for the event in 2010, we defined the overall goals that we wanted to achieve by hosting the event. These have been our guiding lights since the start and have been making sure we have stayed on track to deliver something truly unique. Our goals are to deliver an outstanding World Cup, of course, to deliver an exceptional fan and player experience, deliver human, economic, social, and environmental legacy for Qatar and for the region, support economic diversification and development, improve environmental sustainability, promote healthy lifestyles, build capacity and incubate innovation. Can you go to the next slide, please? Based on the goals mentioned, we have developed a truly unique hosting concept. This event will be like no other World Cup before. This compact nature of our tournament will mean that you can stay in the same place throughout the entire event. You won't need to travel. There won't be any travel days. We will showcase the local Arab culture and the traditional hospitality while bringing cultures together. We are making provisions to make the event family-oriented as a way to engage with a wide audience. We are also placing a strong emphasis on sustainability and legacy, which will be the focus of the remainder of this talk. Can you go to the next slide, please? Our sustainability program was inspired by two key documents. The first document is our Qatar National Vision 2030. This document is a blueprint of where we want to take our nation. It sets out development goals across all the sectors, and it is really a vision for a sustainability future in Qatar. It was very important for us that the sustainability program for Qatar 2022 was directly linked with this vision. The second document is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These international goals are a must for anyone's creating a sustainability program, and we made sure to align to all the relevant SDGs. In fact, our strategy document includes a section that explains exactly how we support each relevant goal. Before I go into the details of the World Cup sustainability strategy, I would like to share some amazing environmental developments that are currently underway or have been delivered recently in Qatar. We have worked closely with these national stakeholders to deliver these projects in such a way that it can benefit the hosting of the World Cup, but at the same time serve the country in the long term. Can you go to the next slide, please? Of course, our first national development is our stadiums. Our 8 stadiums are amazing. They are beautiful, have amazing technology, and they are the perfect place to enjoy a World Cup match. One stadium is fully demountable. It is called Ras Abu Abbud Stadium. 6 stadiums are partially demountable. All our stadiums are or have a green building certification. New community hubs and with sports facilities and greenery includes bikes and pedestrian pathways, kids playgrounds and outdoor gyms. All of our stadiums, or 7 of our stadiums, are air conditioned, so we can use it all year long in the hot weather here in Doha. Can you go to the next slide, please? Our Doha Metro, it is our brand new metro system. It is fully operational and has changed the way to get around Doha. The network with 27 stations connects 5 World Cup stadiums. It was opened in May 2019 and provided the backbone of tournament transport operations for the FIFA Club World Cup. The tickets are less than $1 and was free for ticket holders, and it was free as well for accredited event staff. Can you go to the next slide, please? Al Kharsa'a Solar Power Plant. It is the first utility-scale solar power plant in Qatar. It is being switched on this year to power the World Cup. Energy generated at this plant is 1 month. In 1 month, is enough to power all the World Cup stadiums for 1 entire year. 800 megawatt solar PVs will provide nearly 10% of our national power demand. Can you go to the next slide, please? 1 million trees. The state has started a program to plant 1 million trees. This program will increase the beauty, of course, and of our local parks and neighborhoods. It will reduce the urban heat, that will control the dust, of course. Can you go to the next slide, please? Qatar has relied on import of food, but wanted to change that, especially after the blockade. As a result of a strategic investment program, we have seen recent huge increases in local supply of milk, cheese, tomatoes, cucumbers, etc. The first offshore fish farms have recently started production too. This development reduces the food malls and is helping our local economy, of course. Can you go to the next slide, please? Recycling, yeah. The recycling sector is growing rapidly here in Qatar. New public and private ventures are changing the way we manage these resources. There are solutions in Qatar for nearly all waste streams. Glass recycling is still to be developed. Can you go to the next slide, please? The Climate Action Platform. Through our commitment to deliver a carbon-neutral World Cup, we have worked with a local stakeholder to establish the first voluntary climate action platform in Qatar. The entity is called Global Carbon Council, GCC. The main activity of GCC is to identify and convert carbon reduction projects to carbon credits. GCC are also delivering a lot of awareness raising and capacity building programs about climate change and climate action. These were some examples of our national environmental project. I will now go into a bit more details about the World Cup Sustainability Program. Can you go please to the next slide? Well, our sustainability strategy has 5 pillars. For the first time, it was done jointly with the FIFA. So it's between FIFA and the host country. It has, as I said, 5 pillars, 25 objectives, and more than 70 initiatives. The 5 pillars are environment, social, human, governance, and economic. I'm going to cover today the environmental pillar. Under our environmental pillar, there are 5 environmental focus areas. Can you go please to the next slide? Our 5 focus environmental areas are sustainable building, carbon neutral, air pollution, waste generation, and water. The sustainable building, so all of our stadiums for the first time have or in the process to have 3 types of certificate of green building certification. Our local program certification is called GSAS. It is equivalent to LEED and BREEAM. As I said, the 3 certification, one in design and build, and one in construction management, and the third one in operation. Our office tower is GSAS certified as well. It is the first office tower in Doha to be certified. We have recently launched a program for green hotels as well. Can you go please to the next slide? Carbon neutral. To achieve carbon neutrality, we have the carbon neutral is to achieve the zero net carbon emission by reducing as much as we can. And the remaining carbon emission that we cannot reduce, we're going to balance it by buying carbon credits from carbon reduction projects. FIFA has hired a third-party consultant to estimate the carbon inventory emissions. The report is, we are in the final stages of our report and is going to be published soon. Of course, the compact nature of the tournament helped a lot in reducing the carbon emissions, and as well as using the public transport, as I said, and as I mentioned, the Doha Metro. Our stadiums are all efficient, energy efficient, which help us as well in reducing the carbon emissions. Our stadium reduces the energy consumption, or it uses less energy consumption by 30% if you compare it to a typical stadium. We have established an agreement to source carbon credits from Qatar-based Global Carbon Council, GCC, as I mentioned before. Can you go to the next slide, please? Air quality, this is very important to us. Dust management is really important during construction and such weather like Doha. We have had so many best practices to control our dust in the construction. A report, dust management best practices report was published a few months ago. You are welcome to visit our website and have a look at this report. And we hope that our stakeholders and other projects in the country and the region will be useful for them. We have as well extensive new green spaces around the stadiums. Can you go to the next slide, please? Waste generation. Over 90% diversion from landfill are used in some of our construction areas. Our Ahmed bin Ali Stadium has used 80% of recycled construction waste from the previous Ahmed bin Ali Stadium to build the new Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. We have a complete recycling system in the office tower. We have recycling for nearly all our waste streams at the FIFA Club World Cup, including organics on site. We had biobins on site to convert the organics and food waste into compost. Can you go to the next slide, please? Water. In Qatar, the only source of water is the desalinated seawater, which is an energy consumption operation, which will emit more carbon. So we try to design, or we designed our stadium to be water efficient. The water consumption in our stadiums is 40% less than a typical stadium. We have an extensive use of recycled water. We use recycled water for dust suppression as well as irrigation. The landscaping around the stadiums that we have planned or used require little or no water. Yeah, can you go to the next slide, please? If you need more information about our sustainability strategy or about any reports, the reports that we have published or will publish in the future, you are welcome to visit our website, qatar2022.qa/sustainability. And thank you. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask.
Thank you so much, Bodour, for a wonderful presentation. That was really, really informative. We have some questions coming through on the chat now, and we've got about, I would say, 15 or 20 minutes for questions. So please, 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 if anyone has any questions out there for Bodour, please get them in now so we can have the chance to answer them. So the first question, Bodour, is from Ayal, who asks, and you touched on this a little bit during your presentation. He asks, what defines the building as green? Is there a set of KPIs that you look at to satisfy it being a green building?
Many factors to define a green building. The amount of energy that the stadium or the building is using, the water, the air quality, for example, the waste inside the stadium, the location of the stadium, the types of material is used in the stadium. So many factors. So when you apply for example, for a GSAS certification, they audit our stadium and they collect the features that each stadium has, and each feature has points, and then they collect the points, and then they can, based on the points, you would know if your stadium is GSAS 4 stars or GSAS 5 stars. Now the FIFA requirement is GSAS 4 stars. But recently, 2 of our stadiums have reached GSAS 5 stars, which is which exceeded the FIFA requirement.
So I guess in that way, it's kind of similar to the LEED system, where you collect points and you get a certain level of certification, more or less.
Very similar. Actually, we were going for dual certification, LEED and GSAS. But we spoke with the FIFA, and in order to support our local organizations, we have spoke with FIFA and discussed that we go only for GSAS certification, and FIFA approved that they have sent experts to study the GSAS, and GSAS is more suitable for our climate and for our environment. We received the formal letter from FIFA that GSAS certification is approved to be used in our stadiums.
Okay. And this certification can be used in other buildings afterwards as well. It's not just for the stadiums, right?
We are doing it in all buildings now in Qatar.
The next question we have comes from Annette, who says, the tree planting project sounds great. Can you please tell us who is financing this project? Is it your organization, FIFA, the local organizing committee? Who's investing in this particular project?
The Ministry of Environment started this initiative, and usually organizations in Qatar do work with other stakeholders. So they invite other stakeholders to participate in this initiative. We have a tree nursery that is managed by us and the Supreme Committee, and the 1 million tree, anyone can participate in this initiative. But the lead of this initiative is the Ministry of Environment.
Another question we have here from Adam, who's asking, Bodour, what have been the biggest challenges you have faced in developing the sustainability program for Qatar 2022?
Challenges. You know that we have started from scratch. We had 8 stadiums to be built. So at the beginning, our main focus is to achieve FIFA requirement by certifying all of our buildings. So the first 3 years we were focusing on our buildings, our stadiums, to meet the FIFA requirement. And then we have when we started to initiate our sustainability strategy together with the FIFA, we have list the issues that we took from previous sporting events, and we have then communicated it with different stakeholders in Doha to take their opinions. And we had a survey. We had to survey our staff internally and discuss it with them. And then the final step, we discussed it internally, and we did like our final touches and final tuning on prioritizing the initiatives.
Just on that point, it's very interesting that you talk about aligning with the National Development Project and also the Sustainable Development Goals. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you aligned with Qatar's kind of national objectives and how you did this practically?
Thing is that the Qatar National Vision is based on Sustainable Development Goals and Objectives. The vision itself covers many environmental, social, and economic topics. So alignment was fairly simple in that sense. We have taken particular care of, or to make sure that the initiatives in our strategy deals with the preparation and the legacy, not just the event time itself. This way we are contributing to the long-term development of our country. One example is a program we have in place now to improve green practices and preparation for the event. That will be helpful for them in the long term. We are looking for changes in these hotels well outside of the 28 days of the event.
We have a question here from Sarah, and this is regarding transport. And obviously, transport is a big subject when we talk about sustainability. And she's asking, are there any plans for the World Cup to help fans fly to the games more sustainably, or travel to the games more to the World Cup more sustainably?
Before there will be the and it will help. It will connect 5 stadiums together, and it will help using the local metro instead of the private cars. I don't know if this answers her question.
Bodour, I have a question about the demountable stadiums, which I think is a really, really interesting topic and something that maybe we'll see going forward at more large football events. How are these stadiums being constructed, and how will they be demounted? What's the process behind that?
Well, the fully demountable stadium is called Ras Aboud Stadium. It is like a Lego type stadium. It is built of containers, around 900 to 1,000 containers. After the tournament, and this is the only stadium that won't be air conditioned because it will be fully demountable. After the tournament, it is going to be used for other purposes, build small stadiums maybe, or donated to countries who are in need for sporting infrastructure.
And Maria has a follow-up question to this one about the demountable stadiums, and she's asking: is there any way that you can track how the materials will be used for their second life? How will this kind of be guaranteed that these particular materials will go to these new projects that you've talked about?
Working on that, and they have tracked the materials, and they have calculated how much we used. As I mentioned, our Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, the old Ahmed bin Ali Stadium construction materials all was recycled and reused for the foundation of what was used to build the new Ahmed bin Ali Stadium.
So Antonio has a question about the sustainability strategy, and he's asking: how long before the World Cup did you start developing the strategy? How long when did you start working on it?
We started working on it back in 2016 or 2015. We started to work on it in 2015. So how we did it, we started to work on our host country sustainability strategy, and then we have discussed it with the FIFA, and we agreed that instead of having 2 separate sustainability strategy, one for the hosting country and one for the FIFA, we decided to merge both strategies and develop the very first joint sustainability strategy between the FIFA and the host country.
I have a follow-up question about the strategy, and I know at the beginning you talked about the 5 pillars, the 25 objectives, and the 70 actions within that report. How did you find these priorities? Did you do some kind of stakeholder engagement? How did you kind of come to these 5 pillars and 70 actions that you're concentrating on for the World Cup?
said that we have list the issues, like each pillar. We have list the issues that is related to each pillar, and then we have discussed it internally, and then again we have discussed it with the relevant stakeholders in the country, and we sent surveys for them to prioritize the pillars and the initiatives under each pillars. And then we did another survey internally for our staff. After that, we were like fine-tuning the initiatives, and of course we couldn't put everything, but we put the priorities based on previous sporting events.
And I have a question just around kind of outreach and engagement, and how you're talking about the sustainability program with other stakeholders like fans and other people who are involved in the World Cup. Do you have a process of how you're going to communicate some of these priorities to your various stakeholders?
Now, our sustainability strategy was published last year. And we have conducted several workshops and training for stakeholders. We communicate our sustainability initiatives, objectives through social media, through the media, newspapers, news, different ways, through our ambassadors.
So we're coming towards
targeting. And if your question is specifically on stakeholders, yeah, we conduct meetings, workshops, and trainings with them. Depends on the initiative. So each initiative has a relevant stakeholder.
We have a couple more questions. The first one is from Adam, who's asking, can you tell us a little bit more about the social side of the sustainability strategy and how that interlinks with some of the environmental objectives?
The social side of sustainability will focus more on engaging. We have the generation amazing. It engages more with students and conduct training courses for youth and school, as well as we have the Jasur Institute. It's a sporting academy which provides courses related to sports. Now we have a whole separate team who is responsible for the social pillar. So if you need more details, I can provide you with more details.
And the final question we have today for the session is from Gustavo, who's asking, what are the strategies for creating a long-term sustainability legacy after the World Cup? So what's in place for when the World Cup finishes in terms of sustainability?
So the whole point of having our sustainability strategy to be aligned with our Qatar National Vision 2030 is to have a legacy. So whatever we're doing in terms of environment, social, human governance pillar, it is for the long term. The football, the FIFA World Cup is not just a football tournament for us in Qatar. As I have mentioned before, it means a lot more for us. We have used it as a catalyst to accelerate our national development in different areas, environmentally or socially or economically. Everything that we have done up to date from 2010 until today, that is not just for the sake of the tournament, but the main reason is to have it as a long-term legacy after the tournament. The tournament is only 28 days, and there is no way that we will put so much effort and spend a lot of money just for this 20 days. Of course, we are thinking about the long term and the legacy benefits of the World Cup for Qatar and for the region.
Thank you very much, Bodour. We're coming to the end of our session now. Thank you very much to you all for taking part in the session, and thank you for asking lots of wonderful and informative questions. Finally, I want to say a massive thank you to Bodour Al-Meer for being so generous with our time and our insight today, and for giving us a really informative presentation. Thank you so much, Bodour. Our next edition of the Sustainability Leadership Series will be on Thursday, the 18th of March, at the same time, and it will be featuring Dr. Madeleine Orr from Canada, who'll be exploring climate risk and mitigation for sports organizations. We hope to see you all there. In the meantime, stay safe and goodbye from all of us. Thank you.